Welcome back to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. How the hell are you? Damn it, I mean it. How the hell are you? I'm waiting for an answer. I just said my first I listened to the Scott Thompson episode. I think I just said my second I listened to the Scott Thompson episode, and I started to lose my mind with a number of times I said It wasn't that I was buying time. It has become a part of the way I speak, and I am not a fan. So let's keep track of them. I think I have to slow down. That's what happens. I think I have to speak quickly, so I add us to keep the talking going. Coming to you from the Earwolf Studios today in beautiful Hollywood. Not beautiful. There's another one. There's so many us coming to you. We're right across from Netflix building. Come by and say hello. Sam's here, the greatest engineer that ever lived, with no respect whatsoever to all the others. Sam Levine, who sends his regards, is on his way to the wine country. I don't know whose liquor store that is that he's referring to. He made it sound very schmancy. Jamie, my better half and the head writer, and often on camera, Poison of the Chat Show, is in Orlando. The Disney World, I don't know which park today. The former or often occasional makeup artist Jaden Fox with her. They're doing the Walt Disney World extravaganza. Recent guests, you ask? Who should you listen to check out past shows? First of all, write to me. Let me know if I should stop asking you to write to me. If you've had it with me mentioning recent shows, you're already listening, you know what the recent shows are. I'm always assuming people are just listening for the first time. And the truth of the matter is, we haven't had a new listener since 1947. Very recent Academy Award-winning former guests, Alice and Janney, Sam Rockwell, there I said it. How about the longest on-camera interview Elon Musk has ever given? From just a short while ago, Scott Thompson, Maria Bamford, In Your Face, boom. And, of course, hero and friend, Ricky Gervais. For those of you who give a good goddamn, we are in the middle of shooting episode 3, season 2, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It is exceeding expectations thus far. Only 3 episodes in. It could all go in the shit barrel in a moment. But right now, kicking life square in the nuts. Let's read one of those fan mails, shall we? Since I'm always asking you to write to us at kpcsfanmail@gmail.com, kpcsfanmail@gmail.com. Hey, Kevin, Dutch fan here. Not sure if I'm using some unintentional double entendre, but I've been told Dutch oven has to do with something with farting and things people do in the privacy of their own bed. So, I enjoy your show, and I'm from the Netherlands. Let's put all that together, shall we? Got into listening through the Sklar Brothers' Dumb People Town, YouTubed, and what else those guys were up to, and found out about KPCS. Love it, man. Always wanted to hear Dan Van Kirk with the floor to himself, so I particularly enjoyed that chat. Maria Bamford, more or less my comedic hero. So again, excellent, and I loved you talking with Martha Kelly, who I really got into since discovering baskets. I feel like I've read this letter, maybe to myself over and over again while masturbating, but it does feel wildly familiar. I know I read it when I decided to copy and paste it into, I'm just going to continue. It took me some time to realize you were Rule and Willow. So I've been totally obsessed with you and your friend Frangine for a couple of years as a child. I think you were, is what you meant to say. You can put that on your resume. I already have, whoever this is. I'm not always familiar with the people you have on, but it's way cool, and it's a good guide to getting to know new actors and comedians. You'll meet a new favorite today, you son of a bitch. So thanks. I'll be listening to KPCS whilst going around doing my Dutch business. In parentheses, clogging around my clogs, visiting Anne Frank's house every day, ironing my lace bonnet, eating cheese, going 420 24/7, ask Doug Benson, end of parentheses. And I'll put in a good word for Kevin Pollak and friends to the Dutchies that I find difficult to get into American things beyond Netflix. I'm understanding some of this. And I don't mean to diss people on Netflix. I love Todd Glass. He's everybody's favorite. This person has no inner monologue. That's what's happening. Was this a Dear Diary? Looking forward to upcoming episodes and keep on doing what you're doing well. All the best. Rosie Jansen. Hello, Rosie. P.S. If you run into Van Kirk, give him a little peck on the cheek for me. He's lovely. Thank you, Rosie. I can't wait to peck Dan's cheek on your behalf. We have another letter, but Rosie took up too much fucking time. So let's get to our guest, shall we? Write to us again, kpcsfanmail@gmail.com. Welcome to these proceedings. A wonderful actor who I first saw, I think, on Halt and Catch Fire. And then I was one of the 27 people who thoroughly enjoyed The Last Tycoon. Then we, I believe, met face to face at in the home of Jason Reitman. Please welcome Mark O'Brien.
Thank you very much. Can we go back to that William Faulkner stream of consciousness letter?
What was that?
That was the grammar in that knows no bounds.
Well, I think it was good of her, as it turns out, to point out she was from the Netherlands.
That's true.
And Dutch, and maybe English is a fourth language?
Yeah, maybe she should have pointed out again. I love you, Rosie.
Yeah.
Was that her name?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
She's the best.
She is the best. For now.
Yeah. Until the next letter rolls.
That's right. And where did you come to us from? We're in Hollywood. You came from?
I used to live up the street.
I'll say.
I used to live at Hollywood and Bronson, and now I'm down in Melrose Wilcox.
And how's that working out?
It's going good. I moved just after we worked together. I moved 3 days later after I got back,
because that's what you want to do after the job you finished.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. I wanted to take a break and relax. It was hell on earth.
Yeah.
Everything about it.
If a marriage survives, what is it? The wedding and moving.
Yeah.
I think those are the two.
Those are the two. And I'm not married anymore. So, no, the Home Depot just down the street I know intimately well.
As you should.
There's something about buying boxes. Like, I bought so many fucking boxes. Like,
you mean to pack with?
To pack with.
Yeah.
Because you pay for movers. I'm not going to move myself ever again. But
ever again, as in you?
I will never move it myself.
What happened this time?
No. I've the last 3 times I've paid movers.
Good. Yeah,
but I can't do the paying packers.
Letter to others, note to others.
Yes,
don't fucking do it yourself.
It's awful.
Yeah,
and it's not that expensive. It's a few $100.
Yeah, people, listen. This is what money is for.
Yeah.
This is actually why you work.
Yeah, exactly.
Money buys convenience.
We went to IKEA. Which my wife would be mad that I'm mentioning that we buy. I love IKEA. It's great. But she's like, we don't
like
buy all of our
meatballs?
Stuff at IKEA. No, she doesn't like the meatballs. Actually, I found out.
Oh, she wants you to downplay.
We don't buy all of our stuff at IKEA.
Listen, Jamie, my better half, her nickname is Depression Baby.
Oh.
And she was born in 82.
Oh.
She won't let me spend a dime.
Oh, I was just going to another place.
I don't know why. I don't know where she got it from. It's a past life thing.
So it's an IKEA. So she's an IKEA gal?
We finally decided to do a little remodeling in the master bath, and the guy came to the house, and I looked over and saw the drawers that we keep most of our bathroom things in, and I realized they were the stacked fucking plastic drawers from I think the organized box store thing. Hold everything. What is it?
I don't know. I know what you're talking about.
And I said, so when we redo the double sink here, I'd like a matching stack of drawers there. 8 years in. God. We're creatures of
tough,
habit.
but I went in and I was so tired, and I was like, I was IKEA'd. Like I was like, I can't.
It takes me 2 minutes.
I go in and Georgina, my wife, she's like, I want us to look and like have a good time and pick out something good. And I go in and it's like I've been punched in the nuts. I can't. I'm exhausted.
Is it possible she lost you with "and have a good time"?
I think so. I think that's when I punched myself in the nuts. as an excuse to go home. But then I went, you know when you go into the big warehouse area?
Boy, do I.
Where, you know, you got to pick up the thing and you're trying to match the numbers.
That's right.
And then you're like, is this the brown or the Mojave green or whatever?
It's the Mojave.
So I go over to the middle guy.
Sure.
And I'm like, I don't want to put this together. I don't want to.
You're in the wrong store, sir.
Yeah, get out. A security escorted me out immediately. No, I was like, I don't want to put this together. I want it delivered, and I don't even want to take it off the fucking shelf.
I didn't realize you were part Jewish.
I didn't know until that moment. And he was like, oh, we can do all that. And I was like, wait a minute. The 650 times I've been in here, I can pay someone to take it off the shelf? That's the worst part. And he was like, yeah, it's $30. I was like, $30?
To also assemble?
No.
Oh.
The whole thing was $300
Sure.
to put together a dresser and a couple shelves.
Does that include the cost of the dresser and the shelves? Nope.
No, but that's delivery, assembly, and taking it off the fucking shelf.
Yeah, you sound like a guy who just starred in a film.
It was. I just got my check.
Yeah. You sound like a guy whose pilot just got picked up to series.
Yeah.
It was $300.
Yeah.
He built us some drawers.
I just got some residuals. It's free money.
Yeah, the $30.
Yeah.
That was a good story.
That was
the $300 is a different story.
I remember the first gig I did. I was like 19 or 20. I was with a buddy of mine, and they came by with that sweet envelope of cash, the per diem. Which, when you first start, you're like, oh, it's real, like, and it's always fresh. I don't know whether, like, who they go to at the bank. They're like
printed.
Yeah, it's like fresh. And I remember my buddy was like, "That's where you make the real money." And I was like, "I hope not. This is $60 a day."
Yeah, I have a chapter in my book about per diem. I'm especially fascinated with. It doesn't matter if you're making $600 on the movie or $6 million on the movie.
Yeah.
When you get an envelope of, let's say, $300, it's the only cash you'll see as an actor.
Yeah.
Once you start at a certain level, the check goes to the person who does I call them the system, or you deposit it. The point is you never see cash from any job you do, ever. It doesn't matter if it's, a couple $100 or more. It's still cash in an envelope, and
it's the greatest treat.
But I've seen the $10 million actor feel the exact same way,
like giddily skipping off.
Giddy.
Yeah. There's something about it. And then when you do a job where they're like, "Oh, I think your per diem's on your check," I'm like, I quit.
Yeah.
I don't need this Marvel movie.
Don't fucking put that on my check, you asshole.
I don't need a franchise. You know what, Tarantino? I'm not sure if this is going to work out.
Yeah. Mark is a very special writer.
Yeah.
What is that? He needs cash. It is funny, though. It's the little things.
Yeah.
You grew up in St. John's,
St. John's, Newfoundland. Yeah.
Yeah. Give us some insights into a childhood in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Well, I grew up just outside St. John's in a place called Paradise.
Nobody cares.
Okay.
Give us
okay, I fucked a hooker. No,
Paradise. You grew up in a place called Paradise? Yeah. And what age does that become something you make fun of?
I think 2 weeks. No, I loved growing up in Paradise. It was great. I was in a very rural kind of area. I think it was like 8,000 people. So all I did every day was just play street hockey. That's all I did. I played street hockey.
But that could happen in not so rural. So how rural are we talking?
Not farmland, but like the closest shop I could walk to was like 20 minutes.
And it was a dress shop.
And it was a dress shop, where I got fitted each and every day. So.
The closest shop I could walk to. So this was the 40s?
Yeah. It was, actually, yeah. Were you there?
Yes. I was there when they invented fire.
Were you the Daniel Day-Lewis dressmaker?
Yeah. I drink.
Everyone loves Phantom Thread humor. No, it was great. I had 3 older sisters. I still have them.
Do you?
And
kept them safe?
Kept them around. Yeah, I unlocked them, and they were always singing and acting and doing all that kind of stuff. And I
how much older?
2, 5, and 7 years older.
So when you say they were always singing and dancing and acting up, when do you take notice that that's not just playing?
Honestly, it was one day. They weren't singing and acting professionally. It was just like in one room. I grew up in one room. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
it was a fair-sized house.
It was a paradise house,
It was
first
a
of all.
paradise house, of course. There were waterfalls. I noticed, honestly, when I saw the movie Primal Fear and I saw Edward Norton's performance,
You were how old?
I was 12.
Sure.
When I actually realized there was a craft to it, I understood what actors were, but I understand that like acting, just didn't really think about it. It never occurred to me.
Spoiler alert. Was it the twist in particular
Yeah.
that
I remember halfway through, my dad said, he was like, he's really good. And my dad has a thick
as an
foreign
actor?
accent. Yeah. He was like,
Halfway through watching the movie.
yeah.
Wow.
No, he was, what do you mean? My dad said that he was like, he pointed out to me how good Edward Norton is. He was like, isn't he really good? He's a really good actor.
Were you
Like,
at
yeah,
home
he
or in a
is.
theater?
I was at home.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, he is really good at this. And it never occurred to me before that like someone would be good at that. Because you just think of like movie stars and it's just a movie. Like I never cared. I just played sports. I didn't care.
As a 12-year-old, it's not in your vernacular.
No.
Right.
And it wasn't in my
How was it?
world.
How was it in Dad's vernacular?
I don't know. He's probably drunk.
Well, hey now.
No. My dad watched a lot of movies, and I think he was just like, wow, this guy's really good. Like, he's really, really good. And me and my dad never watched a lot of movies together. We watched
So
like,
did he
hockey.
say it out loud to himself, and there happened to be a 12-year-old there?
He said,
Or was he?
yeah, the 12-year-old
or was
wasn't
he
me.
Instilling in you, this is what good acting
He
looks
just
like.
kind of said it, and it's weird. You know those memories? Like I remember it perfectly. I was like just sitting next to the like on the couch. I used to lie on the floor in front of the couch, like on a pillow, all the time because he wouldn't let me sit up straight on the furniture.
Wouldn't.
No, and Dad was lying down. We like where we'd always like watch TV, and then he just said it, and I was like, "Fuck!" And I remember that perfectly.
Dad was lying down on the couch?
Yeah, he took up the whole couch.
I see.
I sat on the floor.
It
at the
all
end of the
makes sense
couch.
now.
Yeah, next to the open door in
This
the
is
winter.
why you're lying on a couch these days.
That's exactly right. And he sits on the floor. He's 80 and has a weak immune system. But
I was
it's
actually
okay.
picturing you in psychotherapy.
Yes. No, but yeah, I didn't think about it. It just never occurred to me at all. And then me and my buddies would make movies. One of my buddies had a camera, like a camcorder, and we'd make movies using the two VCRs where you press play on one and record on the other. And then I remember the day we discovered that how we could play music. Because this is the 90s. Like there was no fucking home computer editing system, at least not in Paradise, in the three homes around.
There really weren't.
So we'd edit the movie, like using the two VCRs. Then in the final copy that we had recorded on, we'd play that onto the TV. Then with the cuts in it, then in the room we would take the camcorder and film the TV, but frame out the frame of the TV and play music on a CD player in the room.
That's quality cinematography.
And so it was a drastic change all of a sudden in the cinematography.
So your
in the middle of the
final
movie.
cut was just of a television screen without the frame?
Even better, only certain scenes that required music. So
it matched really well.
it matched really
Just
well.
a flawless, seamless.
Yeah, cut
Now
into
playing
really
at the
grainy.
Broadcast Museum.
And sometimes it'd have that black line.
Sometimes.
Going over it. Yeah. So it didn't qualify for an Academy run, none of those movies, unfortunately.
Weird. Didn't get into any festivals?
No, God, no. We made about 20 of them, and they were just stupid movies.
But it was a form of playing.
Yeah.
No
yeah.
one was saying, I'm going to be a filmmaker someday.
Towards the end of it, we kind of got serious. But in the beginning, it was like the whole movie is built around a dummy gag where I go to pick someone up and then we cut. And they were a dummy wearing the same clothes.
Nothing makes me happier than that.
And we would throw me too.
We went to Knott's Berry Farm, and there's a Wild West review, and with stunt gags and a fairly weak story, with people overacting purposely. But it wasn't until a fully dressed, weighted dummy went ass over tea kettle, cartwheel through the air across the stage, that Jamie in particular, but most of us lost our fucking minds.
Yeah, there's something about it. There's something about the idea of you're trying to pull one over on the audience, but you are totally winking at the idea of trying to pull one over on the audience.
Were you just at Sundance with this film?
No, I went to Sundance years ago.
Oh, okay. Then you did some movie with Michael Shannon. And
that was a Tribeca. Yeah,
Tribeca.
Yeah. I didn't see it though. I still haven't seen it. I didn't go. I think that was while we had just finished shooting our film, and I just didn't go. But I heard it went pretty well.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't have any scenes with him. I worked with Catherine Waterston.
Right.
Yeah.
And we think this will be in theaters?
I think so. I think probably later this year. It had a pretty good reception.
I mean, the news from Tribeca was such.
Yeah, that it was good. Good reviews. First film from this great filmmaker Meredith Danluck, and Catherine. Like I did all my stuff with Catherine Waterston. She's amazing. She's incredible. Yeah, I shot that 2 years ago. You know, when it's like, and you're like, I can't even. Wow, that movie. Like I didn't think about it till we finished filming, and I was like, oh fuck, State Like Sleep. Oh yeah, Jesus, like
State Like Sleep.
Yeah, that's the name of
Well, you were kind enough to remember the title. I saw 6 films on your IMDb page, which is 100% accurate always.
Wow.
6 films that are completed and in post-production in 2018.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah.
Tell us. Well, you know what? First of all, I want to celebrate news from yesterday.
Oh yes.
Exciting news.
Yeah.
That took, excuse me, Showtime, far too fucking long to announce. You guys did the pilot. Look, I can do this. You're very upset. Mark's very upset.
Thank you. I'm on Showtime's side.
You did the pilot how long ago?
December, January.
Okay. December, January. It's now at recording time, May 18th. It was hand-in and delivered, and you started to hear they love it when?
A few months ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Couple of months.
Yeah.
A couple of months, Showtime. You don't and Kevin Bacon, number 1 on the call sheet.
Yeah.
Matt Damon, Ben Half-Fluke.
Yeah, that's
executive producers.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it?
No, that is.
It is,
yeah.
It's French. As executive producers.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of good ingredients. You never know. You never know what's going on. That's the thing. Like me and a mutual friend of ours, Jonathan Tucker.
Wildly recent guest.
Jonathan Tucker. We were like, this thing, it's got to go. But then as the days start to drift away, you're like, maybe it's not. Maybe they found out something. Maybe it's not going to happen.
I have picked up a few guarantees over time in show business. Since almost everything is in motion and never a sure thing.
Yeah.
Good news travels fast, bad news travels slow.
Yeah.
So whenever something is strung out like that, I just instantly go, well.
Yeah, that's what I was starting to think. I was like, I don't know, who knows? And it's so weird with pilots and things are getting picked up slowly in the last few weeks. And then it's Showtime, so they're a bit different. They don't do as many pilots. I don't even know if they did any other pilots around the time. And like, this was big. Like, we shot 22 days. Like it was like
a film.
Yeah, it was a film, and it was like really, really ambitious, and so many good ingredients. The director was Michael Cuesta, who did like a ton of Homeland, and Dexter, and he's worked with Showtime a lot. And I saw a cut of it. I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really good. So
that's exciting as hell.
Oh man, it's so big. We're so excited, and I love this guy. It's so funny. Like Jonathan Tucker is one of my favorite people I've ever met because he's so. Can you imagine that guy being lazy? Can you imagine him like, oh, fuck it, can you get the door, honey? Like, I feel like...
I would like to think when no one's around...
He has to conserve.
He shuts down like a robot.
Yeah, maybe.
Or peels off his face.
Yeah.
And he's someone else. It is...
He's a 10-year-old
He's the
boy.
most genuine, enthusiastic, pure energy, authentic, present.
Yeah.
Bordering on painfully present.
Yeah.
But will boost you up no matter how you're feeling in a very authentic, genuine way.
Yeah.
And it's one of those few people in this particular business you can't wait to be around.
Yeah, it's true. I would trust him to raise my child.
Yeah.
Like
in the air, you mean?
In the air for 5 seconds no more.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, he's wonderful. But it's so funny because when he first got in, he was so excited. He's from Charlestown.
He told the story just a week ago
when
right
he
here at
showed
this
up,
table.
And he's like, but he was like, so many other people. Boston has such history. Boston reminds me of St. John's, Newfoundland, where I'm from. There's like this history, and everyone's proud and excited and alive, and takes no prisoners in the way they have dealings with people. Like they're very open and honest. And when I got to Boston, I'd been there before for like 4 or 5 days. Fuck if people don't love talking about the history of Boston. I got in, there's a driver I have, and he's like, how are you? I'm like, good. He's like, yeah, you see that store over there, that convenience store? That used to be a pillow factory. Now it's not anymore. I'm like, I don't fucking care, man.
Yeah. See, that Dairy Queen used to be a Fossa-Freeze.
Yeah, now it's not anymore. The owner used to be mayor of a different city. You're like, I don't give a fuck, man. Then you get together on set, And then all the crew, they started arguing about the dates of the thing in the past. Yeah, that was in 27. Nah, fuck you. It was in 29 in the winter. I'm like, how the fuck do you guys remember this shit?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I haven't had that feeling since, I think, the first cab driver in London. Like, all the cab drivers there are historians.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and they will not run the mouth quite like that.
Right.
But if you ask them any question about any building, any park, anything you're passing, they will give you a complete history.
Yeah.
It's kind of fascinating and amazing.
It's great. It's ultimately an amazing thing because people are proud of it. Like,
Yes.
there's a history. Like, St. John's, Newfoundland is like that. Like, people come in and they'll invite you over to their house. Were you there? Did you say you'd been there before?
Yeah, I did
did
a
a show
stand-up gig
Yeah.
at a club in Newfoundland. I was
With
screeched.
Majumdar.
I was screeched.
You were Screech. Did you do the St. John's Comedy Festival? Or the Screech Comedy
It
Festival?
might have been part of the St. John's Comedy Festival.
And you know Majumdar, right?
I toured with Majumdar as part of the 20th anniversary of Juste pour rire. Just for laughs.
Just for laughs.
Sure.
Oh.
It's the only French I can speak.
and Affleck.
As well as Il Conto, per favore. Oh, that's Italian.
That's
L'addition, s'il vous plaît.
Now
I know
you're
how to
just-
say the check.
You're just saying letters now.
No, I know how to say the check. Where's the bathroom? And please don't arrest me in 7 languages. The check, please.
Are you serious?
That's the first thing I learned. So l'addition, s'il vous plaît, is
that
the
sounds
check,
good.
please. The check, please. But that's it. I mean, I'm really horrible.
And then, but when you start, when
You say that, then they think you
then
speak
they think
it,
you fucking,
you're fucked.
But the first time I went to Paris, I walked in and I was like, duh, or something like that. Like, it was me and my wife. I was like, deux pourcent, and they were like, English menu. I was like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I couldn't sell it for 5 seconds.
It is, beautiful, hate-filled place.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. You fucker, you can't speak our language. You fucker, you can speak our language.
Yeah. Please let's not bring up World War II, all right?
Yeah.
Jesus.
No, this is making it to air. This is live, right?
Oh, I'm laughing at the thought of editing. I think we had one guest ever, Larry David, who called me after the fact and said, "Can you take out this?" And I said, "Nope." I said, "Sure,
this-
Larry." I said, "Absolutely, of course I can. What are you, crazy? Why wouldn't I?" And then not so much.
Did he listen? Or watch?
I assumed he didn't because we never spoke of it again.
Okay.
So when will you it literally happened yesterday. Do you have a start date?
No, I just heard later this year. The thing is, the pilot was shot in the winter, and there's a lot of exteriors, so you got to match that stuff up. So
I've never seen a film where they match that falsely.
yeah.
What are you talking about? You mean when the snowflake falls on their shoulder and doesn't melt? Those films?
Do you know what's
I
actually
fucking
funny?
hate them.
One of the few movies I've ever actually watched the director's commentary for was The Usual Suspects.
Why?
Because you were in it. No, I don't. Because it was one of the first DVDs I had.
Okay.
And it was like, oh my God, director's commentary. I got to take advantage of all
There
the
were
special features.
17 special edition versions of that DVD.
Yeah, and I listened to one, and he pointed out all the. Bryan Singer points out all the holes, or Macquarie, one of them. And now when I watch that movie, I'm just like, oh, now the body's not there. Now the smoke's not in his mouth. Now it's
Oh, how funny.
Because I know all of them so
yes. Jamie's a nutcase for continuity.
Yeah.
When a necklace moves around an actress's chest
Yeah.
from different takes.
Georgina's the same way
Makes
with
her crazy.
accents. If an accent is slightly off, but I'm like, but people are from different places and moved. Like an Australian might move to London and have a mixture.
Yeah.
That never bothers me in a movie when someone's accent's like off.
And how's that go over when you say that to her?
She slaps me across the face.
Left hand?
Yeah, left hand.
Open?
How'd you know?
Open?
Yeah, open face.
Good.
Yeah, she covers more ground that way, as you know.
Yeah. So how does a Newfoundland hockey playing sports kid whose sisters are singing and dancing decide I'm going to give this a shot?
He doesn't get drafted into the NHL or come close. And then I guess I started doing improv in high school. I was always fucking around in high school. I was always like class clown. And then
Were you, in fact, listed in the yearbook as class clown?
it wasn't in the yearbook, but I remember getting some award. We used to do like the awards thing where everyone voted on awards for people.
You and your friends?
And I was my friends, small circle of less than 3 people, and I garnered that honor. No, and then I don't know. I just got into it, and then I got into theater. In St. John's is a very supportive arts community. It's crazy supportive. Like everyone is doing something artistic, and then I started hosting a kids show.
Keep talking.
I got a host. Yeah, and then the police came. No, I hosted a kids show for a couple of years in Canada on CBC.
Nationwide.
Nationwide, interstitials in between shows. And then we had one show that I don't think, I think the same audience that watched Last Tycoon watched that show. And so you. And then I moved on from that, and then I started getting more stuff. But the kids show thing was really
How did that
crazy.
happen?
I auditioned for it because I didn't even really know what it was.
We just jumped from I did improv in high school to I hosted a kids show. So
It kind of went that fast.
Really?
Yeah, I did it. I did probably a half dozen plays, and then actually maybe a bit more than that.
University?
While I was in university, I was in university at the time studying English, and
You weren't quite.
because I wanted to be a millionaire, and then I was doing a lot of theater, and I saw this audition. Someone told me about it. They're auditioning for kids shows.
What if the first couple commercials for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire showed an English professor saying, "Well, I don't." Not me.
No, thank you. Now back
Wants
to
to be a
William
millionaire.
Butler Yeats. Yeats, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Who gives a shit?
Wow, that diploma you picked up at university as an English.
I
So
did
you were
get it.
studying English.
I did get it.
You
I did
weren't
finish.
quite grasping it.
I wasn't quite grasping it. I liked the stories.
Why does live spelled the same way as live? You kept asking.
I kept asking in year 4. And then I went in and I did the audition, and I remember it was so awkward. They were like, "We're going to show you a dance, like a kid's dance on this TV screen. And then we're going to play it back. We want you to dance along to it to see like your dancing moves." And then they turned the volume down so you could hear like the shuffling of my feet and my trying to do it. And I was like, that was a fucking nightmare.
Oh, no.
Then they called and they're like, "You got it." And I remember it was like the greatest feeling in my entire life. I was like, I'm going to be on television. Like, this is crazy. And so then I started doing it, and I used to do like interstitials, and I'd do happy birthdays for the kids. Like the parents would send stuff in weeks in advance, so it would air that day. Then we did national tours, and but it breaks down any inhibitions you have when you're a dancing chicken on stage for 800 people.
I didn't get the chicken part.
It's like, well, when you're doing the most foolish thing,
Great.
in the
Picture
world.
you in a chicken suit?
Yeah.
My mistake.
You can do after that. Like I don't give a shit. And like the kids don't even. Sometimes it was more for the parents. Like,
Was this your first professional gig?
It was at the same time as my first professional gig, which I did a mini series. But it was
We're
at the
just
same
going to
time.
leap over Rich Man, Poor Man? What do you mean you did a Mary Sting?
I did a mini series with Richard E. Grant.
Sure.
Actually, yeah.
Who I worked with in a film called, that was a quiz. We didn't do well.
Is it A Few Good Men?
L.A. Story.
Oh, L.A. Story. Oh, yeah. I
Richard
seen that
Grant
years
is
ago.
fantastic.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy. He's fantastic. I love
So you did a miniseries with him called
Above and Beyond in 2006, and I was 22, and he was phenomenal. He was like the greatest guy. I had a pretty good role, like a good supporting role, and I booked at the same time because it's shot in Newfoundland and in Hamilton, Ontario. So they cast certain people out of Newfoundland, and I auditioned and didn't know how big the part was going to be. Then I was like, oh my god, this is like actually like a thing. So everything was kind of moving fast for someone who had no experience acting. I had no training.
Wow.
I was an English major. And my sisters were like, what the fuck? Is Mark an actor? Like, what happened? Like, when did this happen?
Right.
And then I was hosting a kid show at the same time, and I was doing theater. And then I started doing a theater program at the university. And it was just like, so my days were full. And I started making short films, like writing and directing myself. So I was like, this is like crazy.
With your friends with the VCR to VCR?
Well, then I started actually making kind of more actual kind of short films after the VCRs broke.
So not adding soundtrack to them.
Not doing it properly,
the home
using an
TV.
Avid. I know. So everything just changed really, really fast. But the kids thing was actually kind of great. It was actually really, really great. And I remember one day, like, it was so weird though, because you are so important to these kids. Like, I was like, everything, they don't know
Right.
who Denzel Washington is or who the president is. They just see you, right? Like, you're like Spider-Man cartoon to them. It's like the same. So they would like freak out. And I remember I looked back at one point, I was like, can we look at some of like the work I've done? Like, and I saw it was like really like lazy kind of. And I kind of learned, I was like, even when you're doing something it's not your thing, like I should probably put more into it.
Commit?
Yeah, a little bit. Because there was one thing that kind of set it off. We were doing a birthday thing once, we do these birthdays where they draw something and the parents send it in, I guess, a few weeks before. And then I'd show the picture. And I'd be like, happy birthday to Billy. Billy turns 12 and here's a rabbit he drew. And oh, that's great, Billy. Like all the best. Like, you know what I mean? Happy birthday. And then I take up the next picture. We do it for like 3 minutes every day. And then one of the producers who was out of Toronto called and was like, Mark cursed in one of the segments that aired. And I was like, what the hell are they talking about?
Whoa.
Cursed. Like, it's not live. Like, we
Right.
didn't tape it a few days before. And like the editor missed it, but it's only one shot. I was like, so like, I don't know how it could be confused. So then like go back and look at it. And sure enough, I'm there and I'm just so tired. And I'm like, pick up this picture and I'm like, hey, it's Jimmy's birthday. And, you know, he drew a sun and a moon and a house. And there's his mommy and daddy. That's great shit, Jeremy. And put it back down and nobody caught it. I guess because I meant it so genuinely. Like he was like a contemporary. I was like, that's great shit. And I was like, and it was really funny, but at the same time, I was like, I should probably like pay attention to this a little bit more. Because towards the end of it, I was done. Like, it's exhausting doing that job. And yeah, and then luckily, and then, you know, I had that miniseries. So I had something else that was like not just Kid Show. And then
Did the miniseries come out while the Kid Show was?
Well, it was on, yeah. Well, it was still on.
So that's huge.
Yeah, it was great. Like, and the miniseries was good. Like, I thought it was really good. It was like an $8 or $10 million thing. Like
For CBC?
For CBC, yeah. So it was good, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was wild.
And at what point does it make sense to leave the country?
Well, I'd moved to Toronto after that, and I didn't work for like a year. I just didn't do anything. And I remember moving to Toronto. I was like, well, it's, you know, I'll probably book a movie next month or something because things had gone really fast.
Yeah, you need to go to Toronto, the big acting city.
Exactly.
You were told.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, it's true, though.
Yeah, no, Toronto's big. It's huge. A lot happens there. And so...
But also, if you're an up-and-coming Canadian actor,
yeah,
it's there.
It's the spot to go.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, a lot shoots there. There's a really good community there. So I was like, okay, like I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. I didn't really know anyone. I knew some other Newfoundlanders and just didn't work. Just did not get any work. Like couldn't, I only auditioned for commercials. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like, you know, like that thing we all go through in our 20s as actors. It's like, am I going to do this for a living? Like,
Right.
or I'm going to teach English and become a millionaire. Like, which one is
Sure.
it going to be? And then I booked a series that shot in Newfoundland called Republic of Doyle, and I did it for 6 years, and that changed everything because then
In Newfoundland. So
Yeah,
from
for
Toronto,
CBC.
go back to...
so I went back to Newfoundland for 6 months of the year for 6 years, and that's where I met my wife, and I made like great friends, and I learned so much as an actor,
Right.
and it was the most life informing thing possible.
So 6 years... you've got gainful employment. What is the Canadian version? Am I wrong to assume there are differences, say, of doing a 6-year run on a show here, or are there very few differences in doing a 6-year run?
No, there are differences. That's true. Like a 6-year run in Canada is kind of like a 10-year run in the States, I think. At that point,
Right.
anyway. I don't really know now as well.
In
but
terms of it being
like that's a long run.
crazy successful.
Crazy successful. It was like the number one show in Canada, I think, for the first 3 years it was on. It was, and then after that, it still did very, very well. Everybody knew it, especially everyone in Newfoundland, and everyone took like a lot of ownership of it, especially in Newfoundland, because it was the second show really shot in Newfoundland.
Ever.
Yeah, outside of this great show called Codco, which is very like Kids in the Hall-esque and hilarious. So it was like this really big deal, and then it just kind of became regular life. And then it opened up just a lot of doors. Actually, not at first. I remember the first like 2-3 seasons. I was like, and the offers are going to start rolling in. No, like it took a while. I was like, I still wasn't getting any other work. I was like, I just do Republic of Doyle, which I loved, but I was like, I don't get anything else.
And who were you in the world of Republic of Doyle?
I was like the funny sidekick, basically,
To
Alan Hawko, who was the lead, and Alan's from Newfoundland as well. He's done a ton of stuff. He's on the show Frontier now for
a
Netflix.
character named Doyle.
A character named Jake Doyle.
Sure.
And I played Des Courtney.
And what are their stories?
They
You're talking to someone who knows zero.
it was a detective show.
Okay.
So it was like a crime
procedural?
sort of, but kind of a comedy action kind of thing too. Like almost like a tone of like a Lethal Weapon or something like that kind of thing. Like it was like fast and funny and quick and it had its weighted moments as well. But I was like this funnier part of the show. Whether I succeeded or not, who knows?
Right.
But on paper,
right.
that was the job. And then I have love interest and all that kind of stuff. So
comic relief with love interest.
Yeah, that's
not a bad gig.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So it was great, man. Like I loved it, and then
nothing
ended.
for the first couple of years in terms of offers.
Nothing.
But then
towards the end, I decided I was going to move to LA because I was like, I'm not getting anything in Toronto. I'm not getting any work in Canada.
I can be unemployed in LA. Why do I want to be unemployed in Toronto?
Yeah, exactly. It can be warmer. So I was like, I'm going to give it a go. And the first thing everyone said was, do you have anything lined up? Do you have anything lined up? And I was like, no, man, I didn't have anything lined up when I moved to Toronto.
In LA?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, do you have anything lined up in LA? I was like, no.
You had friends?
2, 3, like
now.
Yeah, exactly. But now it's gone down to 1. This is Georgina. She counts as a friend, right?
Sure, absolutely. Get a pet, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
They love
I
it.
did. He left me too. He was right to do it. I dropped him off at the train station.
Sure.
Anyway, so no, I didn't know anyone, and then we just moved. We got green cards, and we just moved. And then I was here 10 days, and I booked Halt and Catch Fire, and I was like, whoa, like
whoa is right.
Yeah.
10 days.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Don't tell people that are just arriving on turnip trucks.
No, I should. It's that easy. It's that easy. Just
10 days.
10 days, yeah.
So did an agent transfer with you?
I'd gotten an agent through my Canadian agent. I come down, and we had moved a bunch of our stuff, but I went back to do Republic of Doyle, and my wife was doing a Canadian series as well on the same network, same time.
Crazy.
So we went back. We were like, let's do another season. So now we've already moved everything down there, but I wasn't living there.
Down there?
To LA.
LA.
From Toronto.
Right.
So we were like, let's move everything. Moved everything down, had our green cards, went back immediately to Newfoundland to finish the last season of Republic of Doyle.
Which took 6 months?
6 months, yeah. Did the last season.
Who's watching your stuff in LA?
Oh, I don't know. The locked door.
Again, don't tell the people just arriving on turnip trucks. That's how you did it.
Yeah.
We moved everything we owned into an apartment and left for 6 months.
Yeah. Well, I checked on it like 2 or 3 times. I came down for like 4.
Did you?
Not really. I went on Google Maps. No one was outside the door.
Sure.
Yeah.
What year is this?
This is no, this is true, so I got to make something up. This was 2014. 2014. We did have friends go by and check on it all the time. And
you had gained more than the 3 friends you had when you got to LA?
Yeah, well, I had to pay them. They weren't really friends.
Right. That's
you
what
don't
I'm
pay friends.
Trying to get you.
And
to
they were
admit.
neighbors too, so that's weird. It didn't take much effort. Anyway, so and then we and then I came back. Yeah, we had Christmas, and then we moved back, and I think January something. I booked a Halt.
Crazy.
It was nuts.
Let's jump way forward. You did one of the greatest Jeff Bridges impersonations. You don't need to give away any of the details of the stories that you were kind enough to share with me, but I got to have a little Jeff Bridges. So whatever context of any part of the story of working with him that you can share, because he's my absolute hero. He's the greatest actor that ever lived.
Yeah, he is.
His diverse body of work is unparalleled.
Yeah.
If you actually
me or him now we're talking.
Trace it. I'm now talking about the great one, so
great.
not Wayne Gretzky. So I don't have enough stories of people who have worked with him.
Oh.
So everything and anything you care to share would be phenomenal.
Well,
the movie is called
Bad Times at the El Royale, and me and Nick Offerman had a very, very singular experience with Jeff Bridges, which ended up with us in his trailer after 2 or 3 hours of drinking vodka and playing songs and taking pictures of one another, which started with a very, very innocent Jeff asking, "Do you want to go for a splash, man?" A splash was a drink, which now I use every day. It ended in us dancing in each other's arms, the 3 of us, in a huddle, with Jeff saying, "Someday we'll be dead, man, but that day ain't today." And how fucking cool is that, man? And then we cheered. And over and over. And it was the greatest experience of my life. Also, when he sat back and said, "Should we do some pot, man?" like, man, I can't, this dream.
Everything's a genuine question.
Yeah. He's the greatest. What a great guy. Treats everybody equally. Except for me because I'm better than others. So
crew was the same as cast.
Same. Yeah. Everyone just wonderful, welcoming, and conscientious. We did a rehearsal. I mean, I'm barely in this movie, but we did a rehearsal, and there's money in the scene. There's cash in the scene. And he's like, I want to know what size of the bills are they, because that'll matter in how much I put there, and like, you know what I mean, and where exactly would I put it, because I think I should put it there. Like, so conscientious, cares about the scene in every single way. Yeah, he's the greatest guy ever.
That's pretty inspiring.
Yeah.
This was the movie where you were put through it a little bit, only to find out your character wears
a mask the entire shoot for one scene, I might add. And then, no, I show up the first day and I meet Jeff and Nick, and Drew Goddard is directing, who directed Cabin in the Woods. Wonderful guy. And Nick Offerman, a fantastic guy too. You must have known.
Yeah,
Nick,
sure.
Yeah,
Former guest.
Yeah, so Nick is, you know, we're just doing this like long scene together basically. And he and Jeff had like met years before, and they're closer in age, and they're kind of bonding a little bit more. And I'm a little bit outside. They're very polite to me, but I'm just, you know, I'm younger and sexier and stuff like that. So it's just a little bit different.
Sure.
Kind of dynamic going on. So I just, you know, politely, I'm just kind of there, and you know, I'm certainly enamored with both of them. Then we wrap that day, and we're shooting an hour and a half north of Vancouver, which I hadn't known till like the day before. Around the same time I found out I was not really featured in the film. And then, so I go home at the end of the day. We're all wrapped at the same time. There's one hotel. I go back to the hotel, and I call down for room service. Like, we don't have room service. And I was like, oh, God, could this day get any worse? What am I going to do with all this per diem? So I go downstairs, and I'm like, well, where's the closest place to eat? And she's like, well, there's a restaurant next door, and then there's a pub about a 20-minute walk. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
A restaurant next door sounds good.
Exactly. So I go in. It's pouring rain. It's freezing cold. I've had, you know, I'm away. I just finished the City on a Hill pilot Boston shoot and went straight to Vancouver for this. So I hadn't seen like my newborn and my wife, and I was just like, you know, I'm just kind of feel alone. It's just pouring rain, and you know, I don't know what I'm doing here.
So the restaurant at this point, because of the weather and what have you, sounds next door.
It sounds perfect.
That's where you're dining.
And very welcoming. So I walk over, and I'm like, of course I'm going to eat there. And I'm like, oh, before I go in, I'll just take a peek in. And I kind of rub the mist away on the glass. And I see like a fireplace in there, and it's warm and cozy. And I'm like, oh, this looks great. And then my eyes pan over, and I see Nick Offerman and Jeff Bridges sharing a glass of wine, laughing. Just the two of them.
At a table?
At a table, just the two of them. And I was like, oh, I guess I just didn't get invited.
Are there other patrons?
Like far removed. Like it's their own special spot. I think they were cheersing, actually. I looked in.
They were clinking
and I think
glasses.
they were saying, isn't it great to be
Mark's
warm with
not here.
friends? and I was out there like looking in, and I stared for such an ungodly amount of time because I was just in shock at how shitty my life was. I was just standing outside looking in at them having a blast. Like laughing. Jeff's probably offering him a movie. Like everything's going perfectly. And then I see Jeff start to look over just naturally. And I turn my head and ran away.
Because you didn't want to be caught
I didn't want to get
uninvited.
Yes, exactly. Because they would have been like, come in. And I would have been like, no. And it would have been awful. And then I walked 20 minutes to the pub.
That is so Canadian.
Yeah. I know. Like,
It really
I didn't want
is.
to make them feel
I would have
bad.
burst through that door and said, are you fucking kidding me?
Smashed through the glass. Closed the restaurant down. No, I walked.
Yeah, it didn't cross your mind to go in and say, fellas, really? And then they would have said, please join us. And you would have joined them and had a great time. None of that crossed your mind because pride was hurt?
It crossed my mind about a month later. I was like, oh, I could have gone in.
Oh, my.
I woke up in a cold sweat a month later. Oh!
So instead, you
Why
walked
didn't I go in?
20 minutes in the freezing rain.
Into the pub, and I ordered some chicken sandwich or something. Which
was wonderful.
Which was hell on earth. I don't even think they had sandwich. I don't even think it was sandwich buns. I think it was like Wonder Bread slices.
Threw
And
up for days.
I ordered a glass of wine while I was waiting for the sandwich, and that was so bad I couldn't even finish it. And then I just walked back in the pouring rain and called my wife and complained for a couple hours. And I peeked in on the way back, of
Still
course.
there.
Still there. I think they were getting more like free food delivered.
Third bottle.
Isn't this great with only two of us? But then, you know, I ended up dancing in his trailer. So it ended up working out pretty well.
Should we do some pod, man?
Do some pop, man. You want to splash? I was like, I don't know what that is, but yes. Yes. How long can we do this for?
The I want to splash thing is pretty damn spectacular.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
And you've used it since.
Yeah, I try when I can. No one understands me though. Then I just tell the Jeff Bridges story, so I look cool.
I insisted on it. Tell me everything you can remember about working on a TV show. I was completely obsessed with Hannibal.
I did 2 episodes, and it was awesome. Mads Mikkelsen is like, have you met him before?
No, I'm obsessed.
He's a close personal friend of mine. Helped me move. Checked to my apartment when I first moved to LA.
Did he?
Yeah, it's weird. Before I did Hannibal. Anyway, no, he is the nicest guy.
Is he?
In the world, and how his on-screen persona is so like, hello, like, what's happening here? He actually speaks like a bit higher than that. So he's like, hey, how's it going? What's up? Like he's like this jolly,
kind of goofy.
Yeah, and he would like have lunch with me every day. And I remember one day, he was like, your wife's an actress too, right? And he was like, I Googled you and looked you guys up. I was like, oh my God, like just a cool, great guy.
I was thinking creepy, but yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
creepy too. Yeah. He was like, size 32 waist, is it? I was like, how could you possibly? It's 33, but thank you. And no, he and Lawrence Fishburne too. I remember Lawrence Fishburne did something on that show that I've never really seen someone do. You're doing a scene, and you drop a line or you drop or you kind of ad lib through it or something like that because you fucked up or whatever.
And you see in their eyes the absolute contempt.
Yes, they're like, you fucker, you know how long my days are, you guest star piece of shit. Lawrence Fishburne, I did a take where I know I missed like this small little bit of information for the episode. And he used it and then added kind of the information that was needed perfectly into his line in a way that was so seamless that at first I didn't notice it. And then like a couple seconds later, I was like, oh, fuck. And he did something different. We'd done several takes. And he did something different with it as well as like an option. I was like, I've never seen that.
That is damn impressive.
It was crazy. Yeah. And he was so nice. He was really nice. And Hugh Dancy, it was really funny. So I went back for reshoots for that. I did 2 episodes, but I shot like 10 days. They had a lot of time and money, I think. So Mads and I got along very, very well. And he was just absolutely wonderful. And I go back for reshoots, and Hugh Dancy's on the show too. And Hugh is like really sweet, very British, like he's very like put together, kind of like strong, he seemed kind of formal to me, very nice. But Mads is like, hey, what's up? So I go in the trailer when I come back, and at the end of these makeup trailers, they sometimes have a couple steps up.
To a smaller private makeup area.
Exactly. So at the end, Mads is in there. No one else is in there. And I show up, and he's like, Mark, how are you? Oh, it's so good to see you. And he runs down and gives me a big hug. And I'm like, oh, my God, that's so great. So I held on to him for an unhealthy period of time. Mm-hmm. He pulled me away.
I don't know if it was unhealthy. Certainly unwarranted.
No, it was unhealthy.
Okay.
I'll tell you about it after.
All right.
Anyway, so we hug pretty tight, and it's like very exciting. And, I rub my hand up into his hair like you would.
I see. It is very exciting.
Yeah, it was, yeah. A few buttons were undone, and he goes back. Mm-hmm. Then I go back, and I'm kind of all high from, oh, man,
sure.
I hugged Mads. And
this
is the greatest.
You touched him.
And then Hugh comes in 2 or 3 seconds later, and he's like talking to someone. He's like, yes, of course. Yes, we'll have to do that. Yes, of course. And he's like talking to someone, and then he's like, oh, hello, Mark. And I'm like, Hugh! And I hug him with the same gusto that I hugged Mads.
Wow.
But I was also sitting, and he was standing.
Oh, no.
So my head was like pretty much in his like belly button area, and I just held on to him, and he patted the back of my head because there was nothing else for him to do.
No, and thought, he's from the Canadian farmlands, I suppose, originally. Not necessarily farms, but what's the word? Rural.
What's funny is that he said that out loud.
Yes. Did you play street hockey a bunch as a child?
VCRs, yes. Yeah. I did the same, Mark. Let's
Did you make your first film with 2 VCRs?
Ooh, rather.
Oh, man. Yeah, I am so happy to hear that Mads is as sweet and goofy.
Oh, one of the best number ones on a call sheet you could ever meet. Like, just a leader, great guy.
I'm crazy for him. And
Brian Fuller, too. Brian Fuller's wonderful.
Had him on the show because we started some Twitter love fest.
Oh, yeah.
And then got him to come on the show and spoke also glowingly of the process and those people.
Oh, so sweet. He came in. I remember when I came in for like a fitting. some guys, two guys came in and they were just like chatting with me for a while. They're like, "So great to have you. This is so cool." And I literally thought they were like PAs or something like that, or office guys. They were just like really excited and like seemed like excited to really be there.
Right.
And then they left, and I asked them, I was like, what were their names again? I forgot their names. I just met them. They were like, well, Brian Fuller was one of them.
Brian created the show. He hired you.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
You might want to remember him.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't met him before that. I'm right in this scenario. That's all I want.
You had not met him before?
I had not met him at that point, and he was, super, super sweet.
One thing we skipped over that I would like to know, that is off the current track, is what early music are you into, first as a kid and then as a young adult and then...
That's a good question. I loved rap. I still like rap. I liked Tupac. I think was the first music I listened to that I liked.
Very big in Newfoundland.
Yeah, really big.
Yeah. Tupac
and Wu-Tang Clan. Like it's all I listened to.
You're how old?
I'm 12. Like way too young to be listening to that shit.
I'm in now.
To answer your question, I'm 12, which is still. I'm 34.
No, I think 12 is when new music, 12-ish.
Yeah.
When whatever the
starts to hit.
Yeah, and connect and stays with you.
Yeah, I agree, and I still love Tupac and Wu-Tang. I think Tupac was one of the greatest figures, in the mainstream media in the last 30 years. I mean, the guy had balls. He said what he wanted to say and had no fear. And I really responded to that then. Actually, I was like, wow, this guy just like doesn't give a shit. Like he's died when he was 25. Like he was saying all this stuff. So I listened to a lot of that. Then I had this weird period where I like Slipknot and System of a Down and like all these hardcore bands. And this band Deftones, which I still love today, who are out of Sacramento. Chino Marino is the lead singer. I still love Deftones. I go see them live every chance I can. And so they're only hard rock music I listen to. And Radiohead. Those were like my mainstays, which I think like what just sticks with you. Any
regrets or apologies you'd like to offer up for the Radiohead stuff?
Any apologies
or regrets
about listening to Radiohead?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just really, really want to be on board with this gag. We're inching towards. No, they're great. How's that?
It's great. It's phenomenal. That was phenomenal. Do you have any desires in the writing and or directing world?
Oh my God, yes. I want to do that as much as continuing acting. I write a lot. I have 3 movies in development, different companies right now that I think one we're actually going to shoot this year.
That's exciting as hell.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So I think it's all of the same kind of thing. Like I think it's all mixes together in a weird way. As actors, you learn to direct yourself just through auditioning and then through being on set. After auditioning that much, you like know how to do it. You know what is needed. And I think a writer, it's like precedes that. It's just before that of like what is needed.
You love writing.
I love it.
What is your process?
I do a very short outline of 2 to 3 pages, very, very short. I normally actually do the amount of pages or amount of screen time, a page a minute is normally what it is, of how long I think this section will be, how long this section will be, how long this section will be. Because you watch like Scorsese, who I think is the greatest filmmaker of all time, not just living. He gives you the rules of the game in the first 10 minutes of every movie. You know kind of where you are, you kind of know what's going on, and then he gives you something different, like the Coen brothers or like Denis Villeneuve, like really great filmmakers put a twist on it. But they give you that first little bit to be like, here's kind of what's going to happen. And I think the one thing out of Save the Cat, people kind of laugh about Save the Cat, but that book does give that idea of the inciting incident within the first 11 pages. I think they say, I read it when it came out, something like that, which I really think is true. I think you need something to give a shit about.
Give people a little context of Save the Cat.
Save the Cat is a very kind of rudimentary book about screenwriting that became a huge craze when it came out 10 years ago-ish. And since then, I think people kind of like joke about it. But I mean, I haven't read it since it came out, but I think that principle is really strong. I do think within your first 10 pages, you need something, some sort of hook, some sort of thing. The reason why that book was called Save the Cat is because it was about like a total like anti-hero doing something like saving a cat early on so that you like them, which I don't know, you can go along with or not. But anyway, so for me, I like just doing a page breakdown of like, here's how long this section is going to be. And then I start writing because it all changes when you start writing. And then as soon as I'm done a draft, I immediately have a read-through. And I don't send it to anyone beforehand.
When you return in the morning, afternoon, or night, whenever you start your new session of writing, do you reread the previous session's work and rewrite that, or try to keep moving forward?
I keep moving forward. I
your
never
first draft.
reread.
Right.
Just keep going, because then you can get bogged down. Be like, oh, maybe, but
Don't be precious in the first draft. I beg of you.
yeah,
Never,
exactly.
Never. You're going to rewrite.
You're going to change
within
it anyway.
a square inch of its life.
I agree completely. Like I think you need to get it all out. And then that's why I have a read through and I don't send it to anyone before, because as an actor, like who's been doing this long enough, that you feel it in the room. You feel when a revelation works or when a surprise works.
You have everyone come to a cold reading of your script?
Yeah.
Wow.
Every single time. I always do that. And I find it really helps because I can feel it. I'm like, that part lagged. That was a good performance that they read. That reader was good, but it's not working.
As a cold read?
Yeah, I find it really helpful.
How would they?
I give them a breakdown of who they're playing before.
Okay.
So they have a little bit of an idea.
Okay.
Then I give a little bit of an intro before the read. Here's kind of the tone. Do what you want.
Okay.
Here's kind of the
Because
thing.
a cold read seems
It's not freezing cold.
counterproductive. No, just in
Yes.
terms of I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I better be good at just my reading skills.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I don't do that. I give them an overall arc of what it's about.
Right.
The tone is the biggest thing.
Yes.
And who they're playing. Like you're playing a security guard. I need him to just be kind of stern and whatever. And then but play. Because that play also opens up to I'm like, fuck, I can make this sillier if it's a comedy. Or that goes on way too fucking long. And then I normally send it. Then I have a group of certain people I send the script to along the path. I end up doing 40 passes before I send it to anyone who I want to make it with.
Right.
So I'm pretty diligent with it. You write as well, right?
Yes. You're born 84?
Yeah.
You were 3 when I joined the Writers Guild of America.
Wow.
Well, I was 5th lead on a sitcom, and I wanted my character to get it, at least be a B story.
Yeah.
And so I pitched the show's creator an idea for an episode. And he said, "That's a great idea. Do you want to write this?" And I said, "Yeah,"
Oh my God.
with no forethought whatsoever or awareness of what that meant. I had been dabbling with screenplays, but
Well, you've been writing stand-up.
I've been writing
for a long
stand-up.
time before that, yeah.
Sure, which is a form of storytelling, I suppose. But, the sitcom is a very specific format.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't realize when he asked me that it would be rewritten within an inch of its life and rewritten by committee as well as him. But the storyline stayed the same. 2 of my jokes remained. Most importantly, I got on-screen credit, and I joined the Writers Guild.
That's crazy.
By just being sort of proactive in my own character.
It goes to show, it's like,
within
I
the
always say
show.
that to people too. It's like, just ask. Like, just see what they'll say. The worst thing they'll say is no.
Yeah, let's go back to that restaurant in the pouring rain of Vancouver.
I can easily do that. I'm still living there half the time.
Physician, heal thyself. It is, I'm going to tell you off air. I'm funded, have an Academy Award nominated producer behind me, and just met with an extraordinary actress,
I'm an actor.
a green lighting
Oh.
actress. For the lead in
that's
my
fantastic.
film to direct either in the fall or beginning of the new year.
Because you didn't write the other film that you did.
So I've directed. I did a documentary, Major Loves Comedy,
of
which is
course.
a Talking Heads thing, an extension really of this.
But
And
the comedy you recently did.
that was a Gun for Hire with not final
Yeah.
cut, and I'm proud of about 71% of that film.
Now-
Mostly the casting and the fact that I got Jack White to give me a song for the opening titles,
wow, yeah.
things like that. But
but this is so much different.
this is me, soup to nuts.
When did you start writing
Final
this?
cut. It has a 17-year history.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was greenlit at Focus Features without notes when it went out the very first time.
Wow.
2 weeks into the casting process with them, the president was fired. New guy came in, flushed everything down the toilet. In fact, I don't think you should be able to join the Directors Guild unless that's happened to you. It's so prevalent.
Oh my God.
Then it was financed and fell apart 3 more times over the last 17. During that 17 years, I think I put it in a drawer for about 5 years.
Yeah, of course.
So I was like, fuck this. And then, I just never gave up sort of thing. And
Yeah.
I knew it would change when I found the lead,
Yeah.
right? You get the lead to just read the fucking thing. So that just meant let's find a funding group who will agree to make pay-or-play offers,
Yeah.
which is the only way to get the fuck past the gatekeepers.
Yep.
And because legally they have to pass it along if it's a pay-or-play offer, as opposed to checking avails and all that other bullshit.
Oh my God, and you never know if they're going to read it. You
Yeah.
have no idea.
Right. Or if they even got it. So,
Yeah.
and that took many years and many lessons to even get that far.
Yeah.
So this actress and I sat down for 2.5 hours after she read it and liked it. And the lawyers are talking. We're at that stage.
Isn't
It's
that crazy?
unbelievably. Listen, I won't believe it's real again until I'm on the set saying action. And then I still won't believe it's real until I'm at the screening or premiere or whatever.
Yeah.
Just because I've really gone through it on this one. But we're further than we've ever been, certainly. And met with the financiers again yesterday with my producer. And you know, that one piece of casting is just for
Isn't
this
that crazy the amount of power
Yes.
that an actor like that has or an
Yeah,
actress
because
like
in this case, everyone who fills the other roles knows she's the lead.
Yeah.
Which then, just the same way I got myself Academy Award nominated producer Julie Orn, who's brilliant. Hell or High Water was what she was nominated.
Oh, wow,
for.
yeah.
She's done a lot of.
Yeah, I
movies.
have her name.
She's extraordinary. She brings this level of credibility that I didn't have before. That changes even the financier's perspective.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm still a fairly unknown entity as a director in terms of, you know, both films finished in the black and so on and so
But it's
forth.
just people knowing you. It's people trusting you because they know you adds so much.
Well,
like,
it's funny. When the script first went out the very first time 17 years ago, the lit agent representing it said, when he read it, "You're going to direct this, right?" And I hadn't thought of that. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, you've already done so in the stage direction." And I said, "Well, I just did that so whoever did direct it couldn't fuck it up."
Yeah.
And he said, "No, you've directed it and you need to do it."
Wow.
And I said, "Who's going to give a fuck that I want to direct a movie?" And he said, "Kevin, as a credible actor, you have more credibility as a first-time director than someone who's directed 5 movies and their last 2 didn't do well."
Yeah.
That's how fucked up this business is.
It's crazy.
And I said, "That's unbelievably unfair, and I'm just a fellow to take advantage of it." But that was
It's just trust. It's just trust. It's like, okay, cool. I think that this, and you know what, as an actor, when you go in with a director, you're like, okay, I can trust them.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do a good job.
Yeah, and I reached out to 5 trusted, wonderful directors right before I met with her and said in a text, I feel like I'm auditioning as a director for the first time.
Yeah.
Any advice? Because I hadn't done that. Because in the last film, I just made offers. I don't like the auditioning process, so I just made offers. I think we auditioned 1 role only. And they all had such extraordinary advice, truly extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I was able to implement almost all of it during the 2.5 hour set, where I was more comfortable because of it. I was, able to, I brought the script and said, "Turn to page and I'll tell you what it looks like."
Yeah. It's being able to answer any question,
Right.
like thoughtfully. It's like, okay, they can answer that instead of being like, I have no idea. And you're like, oh, fuck's sake. Like having a plan. There's a plan in place, but it goes with everything. Like working with Reitman, Jason Reitman, we're both in the front runner of the movie coming out this year. He's the most prepared person I've ever worked with, maybe even met.
He's been really good to me. We just saw his new film Tully, which I highly recommend.
Yeah, I got to see it.
Extraordinarily enjoyable. He took me to lunch and gave me a lot of insights also about the prep process, and if you have the time and money. He said I would go to locations with stand-ins.
Yeah.
And storyboard with a camera.
So he had it all. And you know what's crazy about that? Because I asked him one day, the Front Runner was one of the smoothest sailing ships I've ever been on. We were in a different location in Atlanta every day. I went to the guys who moved the trailers. I went to them at least 3 or 4 times and said, "This is fucking incredible. You guys squeezed this into this parking lot." Like I was literally like, "This is an art form. Like I don't know how the fuck you guys did this shit." And we were somewhere else yesterday.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And I asked Jason about it, and he said, he was like, "Yeah, we went with stand-ins to all the locations." Which, by the way, there's 100 fucking million locations in that movie. But then I was like, I was thinking about it. I was like, but there's been many days that I said to Jason, like, "Nah, I don't know, maybe I should do this thing," and he'd be like, "Okay." So he can think that quick.
Well, that's what I learned from Scorsese also.
Yeah.
Within the composition of his shot, which is meticulous. Every frame is meticulous.
Yeah.
The composition. The actors are free to do whatever they wanted.
That's the goal. That's the whole thing. Casino, my favorite Scorsese.
It's time for Ask Kevin. You're allowed to ask me any singular question.
I am?
Yep. Could be silly or sincere or not.
I have a sincere question because you've worked with many of my heroes. Can you think of a scene, it doesn't need to be the number one scene, a scene you did with someone that when you did the highest regard of this question I'm going for, I'm not wording this good at all.
Sure.
That you walked away being like, holy shit, that actor just floored me. Like, have you ever had a scene like that where because sometimes as actors, you step across from someone who's amazing, but you're still just doing the scene together. You don't always walk away being like, oh my God.
Denzel Washington.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Ricochet?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's, it's just a walking clinic.
Yeah.
And you could learn as much as you want. But also Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon.
Oh, fuck.
Originally, I felt that way with them.
That story you told me.
Yeah.
A
couple of them.
Watching the Oscars with them.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Stories are in the book, How I Slept My Way to the Middle. Not just a funny title and technically still available. Now it's time for Kevin Pollak's. Yeah, on Amazon. Time for Kevin Pop Quiz. Between 5 and 15 points possible for each of these 3 questions. Once the final score is tabulated, it will be posted on our website, along with the current standing of the top 100. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Question number 1, Dave Koechner or Rob Riggle?
Rob Riggle.
Correct. Question number 2, Carl Weathers or the weather in Carlsbad?
Weather in Carlsbad.
Also correct. Question 3, Keith?
Yep.
That's 3 out of 3. Sammy, it's a perfect score. That is your Mark O'Brien, ladies and Jews. Thank you for joining us for this, I think, 356. I don't remember what the number is episode-wise.
Is this what number we're at?
I think that might be the number.
Okay.
9 years in the making.
That's okay.
Yeah, that sounds fine. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, man. Thank you very much.
And driving so far to get here.
Yeah. You'll reimburse me later. Ooh, with some fresh bills.
Congratulations on the series.
Thanks,
I can't
man.
wait to hear more, truly. And what a great deal of fun. Also, we didn't get a chance to talk about the film we did.
I know.
But,
what the fuck?
But it's something we can talk about
when
again.
it comes out.
Yeah, and just as I've said, a heartfelt thank you for insisting the director hire me. It's called Goalie, and I've told so many people the story of Terry Sawchuk, and a couple minutes about your takeaway from the experience as a whole. Did I tell you that I ran into, I believe it was the sound guy. I got back to L.A. after finishing our work together. Day in, day out, you work with this crew.
Yeah.
4 hours north of Toronto, little town, Sudbury. Get back to Los Angeles, take the missus out to dinner in a restaurant we've never been.
Denny's.
And 15 minutes in, a guy walks by and says, "Kevin." And I look up, my brain disassociating because he's out of context. I think it was the sound guy. From Gold.
David?
Yes.
David Otier? Yeah, he mentioned he was going to L.A. That's fucking hilarious.
It fucked me up.
Wow.
Because what are the chances?
I know.
Are there 1,800 restaurants in Los Angeles, first of all?
That is absolutely
He was
crazy.
visiting for just a couple days?
I would have done one or two things. Greeted him very graciously and excitedly, or said, "Get the fuck away. This is too weird."
I did both. But he did tell me that you finished with something like ridiculous 18 hours on the ice.
Oh, it was crazy. And I was sick.
Yeah.
I was very sick, too.
Well, you were sick when we were doing our last scene
Still
together.
getting over it. Yeah. It was pretty rough. That whole experience was very wild to me because my wife, Georgina, played my wife in the movie. My newborn daughter was there as well. So I'd do a scene, go back to the trailer and see my daughter. It was kind of the ideal scenario. And I'm a hockey fan. I knew everything about Terry Sawchuk before the movie. And to just do something so different, he's just such a interesting person. And the thing I got out of it the most was, look, there's so much hockey. And we did 19 days. We shot 180 scenes. I think I was in 160 of them. So just the through line, when you do that, you go and you do a small role, something, and you do a bigger role where you're like, I got to piece all this together, was so exciting and so invigorating. And the pressure of playing him never hit me because I was just too excited.
Right.
And the thing I got out of it that I really enjoyed was the money. No, it was
Finally an honest actor.
He's a guy who's so confused.
Yeah.
And we can talk about this more when the movie comes out. So confused that there's never a real clear reason why he's acting the way he's acting.
Right. So much of it is pride, so much of it is false pride, so much of
Exactly.
it is competitiveness, and some booze.
So exactly. So it's interesting to play because
Yeah.
there's no one answer.
Yeah.
And it was great. And I loved working with you, man.
I'm excited for you, and yes, working with me was really great. Thank you, Sam, the world's greatest engineer. Thanks to
How do you do it, Sam?
Yeah, there's Sam. He's still with us. Took the headphones off about halfway through and said, "Yeah, I don't need this."
I was wondering where that smoke was coming from.
Thanks to Corey Levin in post-production, all the folks here at Airwolf. Write to us again, kpcsfanmail@gmail.com. I can't wait to read more of your emails. Yep, I'm talking to you. Next show, I'm going to read Rev K from St. Paul, Minnesota. Why? Because I said so. That's our show for now. Until next time, and as always, get out of my face.